Aegon III Targaryen died in the 26th year of his reign in the year 157 AC at the young age of 37. While the king was still a young man when he died, he looked much older than his 37 years. Given his troubled life and the stresses he endured during and after the Dance of the Dragons, his sickly look and early death surprised very few at court. In truth, the king died inside the day he witnessed his mother, Queen Rhaenyra, killed by his uncle, King Aegon II, in the last days of the Dance of the Dragons. The trauma of that event never left him and haunted him till the end of his days. While King Aegon III only lived 37 years, mentally he had been through much more than most men his elder, and all of it took its toll. Opinion on Aegon, by the lords and small folk, seems very neutral, with very few actively disliking him or taking issue with his rule. But at the same time, he was hardly anyone's favourite king. While his reign was filled with some turbulence, mostly during the Regency period, King Aegon III did bring the stability the Seven Kingdoms needed in the wake of the Dance of the Dragons, while the wounds left by the war began to heal. He had also brought stability to House Targaryen by providing a clear and secure line of succession that would hopefully mean an event such as the Dance of the Dragons could never tear House Targaryen or the wider kingdom apart again. It was hoped at the time that this would be the last civil war among the members of the royal family. In truth, that hope would simply be a dream, and few could predict the events that would transpire over the next few decades. Aegon left behind 2 sons, Daeron and Baelor, and 3 daughters, Daena, Rhaena, and Elena, as well as his queen, Daena Velaryon, and his younger brother, Prince Viserys, who had been serving his brother faithfully as Hand of the King for many years prior to his death. The eldest of King Aegon's sons, Daeron, was only a boy of 14 when he assumed the throne. While he was older than his father when he came to power, Daeron was still not yet a man and had not come of age. Perhaps because of Daeron's notable charm or genius, or perhaps because of the memory of what transpired during the bloody regency period of Daeron's father, Prince Viserys wisely chose not to insist upon a regency period while the young king was in his minority. Instead, Viserys chose to serve as Hand, while King Daeron ruled ably and capably, but at the same time being willing to learn about the pitfalls of governance from his uncle. It was hoped that the team of Daeron and Viserys would bring a new age of prosperity to the realm. While there was some pushback at the idea of no regency, many who raised objections tended to be men hoping for a position on the proposed Regency Council. In the end, any who dissented loudly enough to become a problem were reminded that the legendary King Jaehaerys hardly had a regency period when he was in his minority, and even during that brief time, the king was a power in his own right, thanks to Jaehaerys' willfulness and determination to be listened to, and is remembered as perhaps the best king Westeros ever saw. At the time of his coronation, few in the realm foresaw that Daeron, the first of his name, would cover himself in glory on the scale not seen since the days of Aegon the Conqueror himself, whose ruby crown he wore. The choice of using the Conqueror's crown was deliberate. His father, King Aegon III, had preferred a simple circle to match his modest dress. The choice of the Conqueror's ornate ruby crown was meant to send a message to the realm that Daeron was not his father. In fact, he was different in many ways, but at heart he would make a strong king. Yet all the glory Daeron would achieve during his short reign turned to ashes almost as swiftly. He was said by those who knew him that he was a youth of rare brilliance and forcefulness, that there was a true fire within him, driving him onwards, that in many ways he was a dragon made flesh. King Daeron at first met resistance from his uncle and Hand Prince Viserys and his councillors and many great lords up and down Westeros, with the exception of the Marcher Lords, when he first proposed to complete the conquest, something that had eluded every Targaryen king before him, something that even Aegon the Conqueror could not achieve, an idea so challenging that most kings never even considered it in the first place. But not so with this ambitious young king. It was Daeron's aim to bring the southernmost kingdom of Westeros, Dorne, into the realm at last, and under the control of House Targaryen, completing Aegon's dream of a united Westeros, 7 kingdoms under one king. This would not be an easy task. There had been several small wars with Dorne in the years since the conquest, but not on the scale that Daeron was proposing. His small council did their best to make the case for peace, and his lords reminded them that unlike the Conqueror and his sisters, he had no more dragons fit for war, and slim to no chance of hatching the remaining eggs on Dragonstone. To this, Daeron famously responded, "You have a dragon, he stands before you."